All right. Hello again, everybody. I'm going to be going into further detail on just the general capabilities of flat wire. So Fort Wayne Metals has two forms of flat wire. We have rolled flat wire and drawn flat wire. So rolled flat wire is our most common product that we produce most of the time. However, we do have drawn flat wire that provides tighter tolerances for width and thickness, and then also a more consistent size throughout. Historically, drawn flat wire has been able to hold considerably tighter tolerances for the width and thickness. However, with new advancements in processing and machine capabilities, that gap has really tightened up. Now, rolled flat wire is very comparable when it comes to tolerances with drawn flat wire. And then on the material side of things, almost any material that Fort Wayne Metals can produce is round wire. We can also produce as flat wire. There are some instances where, due to certain alloy properties, the material doesn't really roll and produce product up to Fort Wayne Metals quality standards. But feel free to reach out and ask, and we'll gladly look into any additional alloys outside of stainless steel. But for today, we're going to be primarily talking about stainless steel flat wire. So the size range offered for rolled flat wire is 3/05 inches by 2/15, and then up to 050 by 080. We can provide material larger than this. However, anything over that 080-inch width would be considered rolled strip and processes on different equipment. The width to thickness ratio has a max of 10:1 and a minimum of 2:1. Just wanted to throw out that when you do get towards the lower end of that ratio, there is a possibility of poor cast and camber as well as straightness concerns, mostly due to the material being so close to square that sometimes it'll want to roll on the spool, kind of spool on the opposite side that we traditionally want. Standard tolerances for rolled flat wire are plus or minus 10%, and then the tight tolerance being plus or minus 5%, with the tightest of plus or minus 0.302 on the thickness and plus or minus 0.303 on the width. Just know we're always pushing to improve our capabilities. So if you guys have a size, ratio, tolerance, anything that's outside of this range, please feel free to reach out to us. Our team very much enjoys pushing the limits and just seeing what the next and best thing we can do is. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And then again, I'll slightly touch on packaging options, very similar to what Garrett touched on earlier. Fort Wayne Metals has patented the Endura bobbin. It has a 45-degree flange. Really leads to less snags, tangles, and easier payoff for rolled flat wire versus Steger style. The ratchet and bore are the same as the Steger style, so it'll fit all the equipment that you're currently used to. And then the Endura holds up to 80% footage-wise is what the Steger style does. So very minimal loss there on the amount of material we can hold. And then let us know if you guys haven't used the Endura bobbins before. We'll gladly work with you to get you either just some sample bobbins or get you some of your material on the Enduras. That way you can try them out on your braiders and let us know what you think. Pass it over to Blake.
Yeah, so I'm going to be reiterating a lot of the same things kind of Garrett talked to. Flatware has a lot of the same practices with winding and spooling as well. The biggest thing I can always say is work with us up front. A mismatch in tension can lead to a lot of poor issues with braiding. Garrett, like I said it as well. If you're braiding with more tension than we're spooling, you're going to have a lot more dig-ins, wire breaks, kinks, snags, things that are just going to make the process not very efficient. On the reverse end, it's a balancing game too. We want to make sure we're not applying too much tension where we're going to lead to wire damage, wrapping or warping of the bobbin. So some of the best practices is just providing that braiding tension up front will lead to better success with Fort Wayne Metals and your product as well. So always feel free to reach out to us. We will recommend what tensions we can do and let us know what your goals are with that. So we also are trying to explore the ultra strength process as well with flat wire. One thing just to kind of reiterate at the start is flat wire and round wire have a different kind of cold work. So anytime we're rolling flat wire, we're going to lose strength from our incoming round wire. So if we're getting 500 KSI, we'll probably lose about 50 KSI approximately. It just depends on the condition and what we're trying to manufacture. And this is going to be available, this high strength condition, from half a thou by 0025, from 3 thou by 9 thou as well. Again, just keep reiterating, we're always willing to explore outside those ranges as well. Just kind of let us know what you're looking for and what applications you're working with. Just to kind of give some equivalencies on tensile as well. Our highest condition we used to have is high 10, where we were targeting around the 400 KSI depending on size. As you get the size bigger, the tensile will decrease a little bit on size. Then we also have our ultra strength, which we're now exploring with flat wire as well, where we've been seeing some tensile strengths from 450, 440, and almost getting up to 460 KSI as well. So this is still early on in development. We've only done a handful of sizes, but we would love to keep trying different sizes and working with different customers on this. Same kind of applications and improvements we can see with round wire, even with the benefit of flat wire downsizing that profile even more. So. And then we're going to talk a little bit about flat wire surface finishes as well. We offer a lot of different surface finishes and kind of for different applications. The biggest one being kind of coating adhesion, which we'll talk about a little bit. But the 3 surface finishes that we offer are bright, semi-bright, and rough rolled. Bright being the surface, the everyday standard surface that we produce, and we always kind of pride ourselves on. Then we have semi-bright, which is just a little bit more dull. You can even see in the picture that with even being side by side, there's not that much a different comparable difference. Where you see it is a little bit under the scope, under higher magnification. Rough rolled, you'll start seeing that dull appearance on the wire. And just kind of talking about some of the RAs, our bright is typically usually under 1 RA, but with all wire sizes, it's usually under 2 RA. Semi-bright being kind of in the middle there, 2 to 5 RA, and our rough rolled being typically over 5 RA. Roughnesses will kind of vary depending on the wire size and our width to thickness ratio. When I say that, yeah, our width divided by our thickness. So it will kind of vary depending on what size we're working on. We did find that this is not really ideal for sizes under 2 thou by 5 thou, where we kind of start seeing that the texture of semi-bright and rough rolled kind of outpowers the size of the wire. So the grain is just a little bit too large on those products. Just wanted to show some quick examples. So this is just our bright surface finish with a 3D surface roughness testing. The one I really want to highlight is the picture on the bottom right, where you can see that smooth, even finish. This one's reporting out an RMS of 0.3. We'll typically report out RAs as well. And then on our next one, which is going to be our semi-bright, you can see there's a little bit obviously more texture, a higher RMS value here as well, where you can see some of those valleys and ridges and additional texture that can help with some of that coating adhesion. We also wanted to show just the difference, even under magnification. There's just that slight noticeable difference. Really, with the biggest selling point for semi-bright is it's a more consistent surface finish is kind of the biggest thing, and it's a little bit easier to manufacture as well. So it's a benefit from if it's not going to be trying to say if you're going to be coating the product anyway, a lot of times you're not going to see that surface finish either way. Produces a more consistent surface where that bright surface might not even be needed, which is going to be coming at a higher cost. So, the other thing we kind of been exploring too is we were looking at doing multi or hybrid surface trials as well. So this can probably apply to coiling just as much as braiding as well, where we are using different rolls on different sides of the wire. So we're doing more of a rough rolled on one side and more of a bright on the other. Where the hopes of this is actually being able to take your mandrel or decoring the wire after your braiding or coiling operation with a little bit less friction on the inner side of the wire, where you have that rougher surface on the outside for more your coating adhesion or what other application it might fit with a rougher surface. We've trialed just a couple different sizes, still early on, trying to see what the market says and kind of what applications are out there. We're willing to do different trials for it. So if you're interested in this, just reach out and we're willing to work with you on it. So. And then even next, another one that we're also exploring is wet blasted material. So we're kind of limited on what our roughness we can get with our rough rolling applications, where we'd have to get a different equipment to keep increasing that RA. So we do have very limited capacity right now with this machinery, but it's something that we want to continue to invest in if there is a market out there for it. We can reach RAs of over 10. This can go for round wire, flat wire, probably even other applications as well. Like I said, limited availability right now, but we're seeing really good RA values and a very consistent surface roughness that is can greatly help coating adhesion.